Welcome back. We are gathered here together to talk about your 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, and especially excited to preview the first real game with Jordan Love at quarterback. And it's all next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Welcome back, fellow cheeseheads. I'm Scott Clark from the Gaming Outsider Podcast, and I've got one question for you. Are you ready for some football? The fantasy drafts have begun, preseason is over, and the stores are quickly running out of chili and cheese dip. That means it's nearly week one of the 2023 NFL season, and that also means we finally get to see the Packers starters on the field again. And I know one person who's even more excited than I am, my wonderful and illustrious co-host.
That would be me, Wayne Henderson, here with you, and I gotta say, that offseason took forever. Nothing happened from February until today. So with that, we are going to dig in. And I first have to start with a quick question. Can I get a Go Pack Go?
Go Pack Go indeed.
Okay. I feel so much better. This is episode. Yes, it has. It's episode 275 of the Packers Fan Podcast, the show by and for fans of your 13-time NFL champion, Green Bay Packers. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about this year's very interesting Packers preseason games. Got a little bit of listener feedback we're looking forward to share with everybody.
And then it's time to preview next Sunday's Week 1 game where the Packers will head to Chicago to play the Bears. And I'm also bringing my keys to a Packers victory over Chicago, so be sure to stick around for that.
Yes, they may actually need them, so I am ready. First off, Scott and I want to send out a huge thank you in support of all the listeners supporting the Packers Fan Podcast. Over the summer, you really came through with your votes to nominate this podcast in the annual People's Choice Podcast Awards.
And I got to say thank you as well. Thanks to you guys, I also got the Gaming Outsider nominated, so really appreciate the votes over there. We are very grateful for your nominations. We made it as a finalist in the sports category for the fourth time, and that's all because of you guys. In addition, like I mentioned, you helped get the Gaming Outsider on there, but from this point on, it is all up to the judges for both of our shows. So fingers crossed, it would be an amazing feeling for me to win a second podcast award, because yes, I have won one before.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a few weeks maybe?
Absolutely.
Congratulations to all the winners, and hopefully it's us. To set the stage for this upcoming season, let's talk a little bit about this year's preseason, because, Scott, I can't remember the last time that most of our starters played in a preseason game, let alone so many of them playing in all three preseason games.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. I admittedly don't watch preseason live a whole lot, and I've talked about that in the past, but I did watch some recaps, and I was like, wow, I'm recognizing a lot of these names a lot more than I was expecting, but it was kind of good to see. But I think a lot of that is attributed to the fact that how young this Packers team is,
right? Especially
the offense. It's just they've really got to test everything out, because otherwise they're going to go really inexperienced. And that was a complaint we had last year, right? When preseason, we didn't give the starters a whole lot of chance to play. So hopefully they must be listening to us. They're taking our advice, Wayne.
I'm just glad to see it. And especially that third game, Seattle at Green Bay. It was so much fun. The Lambeau crowd was loud, having a great time. Even later in the game, when quarterbacks Sean Clifford and Alex Magoo were leading the offense, it was feeling like a real game, even though we knew better. We did know better.
Hey, it's still fun to see them win, right?
Yes.
And I got comments from the things that I observed, but I want you to take it with a grain of salt, because I know people will say, well, it's just preseason. We're playing against our third string defense and blah, 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 and all this and that. I still have some thoughts just from the things that I saw, from the highlights. First off, you mentioned Sean Clifford a second ago. I don't think that guy should be discounted. He is a solid fundamental backup quarterback. I got plenty to say about Love. I really liked a lot of the things that he did. He had a total Favre moment where he threw a pass that got deflected, and he caught it himself and ran some in. He's scrambling really well, and he's doing a lot of those Favre things. But I think where Love looks like he's having some Favre moments, I think that Clifford is having more Rodgers moments in terms of how Rodgers started out as a more fundamental quarterback. So I think there's a good mix between the two of them that is really a positive thing to see. Also, in the third game, I feel like the run defense was looking surprisingly good. The first two games, were a little bit something to be desired, but that third game, it looked like they started to clean up their act a little bit. Also, the name that stood out to me the most in terms of ones I didn't recognize was rookie corner Carrington Valentine. He looks to have a lot of potential. He broke up some really key plays so I think he's a name that's going to be sticking out. If you don't remember, he was a 7th round draft pick for Green Bay this past season. So also keep your eye out for Emmanuel Wilson. He made some solid runs. I mean, we've got Dillon and Jones back there, but I think that Wilson is a guy to definitely keep an ear out for. Also, the kicker, the name is escaping me right now. What is our new kicker's name? We are terrible fans, but he was. I mean, again, you're watching highlights, and it's hard to really judge a kicker just off of highlights. But
right.
He made some solid. His name is Anders Carlson.
That's what I was gonna say.
We're definitely gonna miss Mason Crosby, but it looks like we got a solid replacement. If the best isn't available, I'm perfectly happy with what we're seeing from that guy. So those are my takes on what happened in preseason from the highlights that I watched. But that's what Wayne and I thought. We want to hear what you guys thought. So each and every week that we do this podcast, we ask you guys for comments and to join in on our upcoming podcast episodes by either calling our voicemail line, which can be found at 920-3PACK-GO, or you can record your voice on your phone and email the recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. I actually recommend you do the latter. If you email it to us by recording on your phone, it sounds so much better. We can hear your voice very, very cleanly, and it makes for a better listening experience. But you can still call at 920-3PACK-GO as well. We've got one voicemail this week, and of course, it's from Dan Dyler. Let's go ahead and see what he has to say.
And here we go, go, Pack, go! Yes, this is the last week without NFL actual football, not the preseason stuff. The preseason hype is over. I gotta tell you, even though it's a little hyped up, because, preseason, it's kind of like running a 400-meter dash, whereas the whole entire season is more like running a marathon. But Jordan Love, I'll address that elephant in the room, probably the biggest question every one of us had. He looked good. He was going through his progressions. He's staying calm in the pocket. And unlike Aaron Rodgers in the last few years, this boy can scramble, and he can move around. He doesn't have to make gains. He can move around in the pocket and let his receivers work back towards him. I'm really pleased with the defense. Lucas Van Ness, I think he's going to be a beast. He really reminds me of a Justin Houston with a ceiling of, let me put on my rose-colored glasses here. I see his ceiling being like a TJ Watt or even maybe a Nick Bosa. It's great to see a lot of our players coming back. Quay Walker, Devondre Campbell, Bakhtiari. He's on a pitch count, so I think this is probably going to be his last season, and we'll see how much he plays, actually, and how well he can play, and hopefully not get injured. It's Bears week, baby. Bears opening it up on the road again. NFL just doesn't like us starting at home, I guess. Control the game with the run. Keep Fields on the sideline. I'm expecting to see more running, especially without Rodgers calling a lot of the shots anymore. That'll give Love time to learn. I see it being like a 60-40, a run versus pass split with a lot of touch passes with all the speed that they have and the youth. With that youth, it's going to come some mistakes. Looks like Dubs is injured. I'm not sure if he's going to be playing, so I expect to see a lot of Jaden Reed. He's the number 3 wide receiver, and if Dubs doesn't play. And you got Malik Heath and Samari Torrey stepping into the game. Malik Heath, he was an undrafted free agent. They actually, I think, had 3 undrafted free agents make the team. It was Heath, Wilson, and defensive outside linebacker Cox Jr., his name is. I'm just ready to see this thing going, and I'll kick off the first guess, which is going to be a correct guess for the Wager O Fun. It's going to be a tight game, but we still own the Bears, baby. 21-17. Green Bay Packers. Let's go, 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 Pack, go!
Yeah.
I swear he tries to beat his record every single week and how long he can make that last. So Dan, as always, thank you so much. I've actually been interacting with Dan on DM, Instant Messenger on Facebook a little bit this summer. And shout out to him for putting together our Packers Fan Podcast Fantasy Football League. We're doing it a completely different way. I've never done fantasy football before, and it's kind of fun doing something a little bit different. And I'm really happy with my team, so that worked out well. Yes, Bears week, important week, and I don't know what it is. I don't remember the last time we started week 1 at home. Why is that, neither. Wayne? Like, it feels like every season we are away every time.
Dan thinks the NFL just doesn't like us. I don't know what the problem is. If we don't get a home game to start next season, the conspiracy theories are really going into full force. But I'm very happy to hear, Dan, that you got some rose-colored glasses. This is excellent news.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad to hear that Dan is in agreement with me that I think we should be getting more running plays, now that Rodgers is not calling the shots anymore. And I have to imagine that LaFleur and everybody else in the coaching staff is like, listen, we're in charge here. You are playing for us.
What are you saying?
Yeah, just saying. I'm I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting season, and I can't wait to see what he's doing. Love is looking solid. He's looking really good. I don't even remember him throwing an interception in all 3 games. I didn't watch the games all the way through. I just watched highlights, but I don't remember seeing an interception. Did he throw a pick at all?
I don't recall one, but because it was preseason, not paying as close attention to those minor details because it could be due to a million different factors in preseason. And,
well, I mean, he's not playing hardly at all. He's not on the field as much either. But
right, absolutely. And it's been a very interesting preseason, not only because so many starters played so many games, but the fact that Scott, that you tuned in and saw some of the preseason, whether it was live or not. This is exciting times. We're getting in touch with a new team, and what if Lucas Van Ness turns out to be just another historic defensive player? Oh, I can't wait.
That would be great. It's going to be so much fun watching this year. I mean, I'm not as optimistic as you probably are, Wayne, because you can't help but be optimistic. But if the cycle repeats itself, that first season with a new quarterback is not going to be as stellar as we would hope it to be. But it's going to be a growing process, and it's going to be fun to see this new era of the Green Bay Packers. Let's just hope that they keep this, what's been happening for the past 30 years still going for the next 15.
That would be fantastic for many, many reasons. And Dan, thanks again for, like Dan did, recorded it on his phone and sent it to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. And look at how clear that sounded. But again, every week by 9 p.m. Eastern, Sunday nights at the latest, unless it's a week we play on Monday and all that crazy stuff, get those calls into us. And you can even go old school and dial +1 920 3-Pack-GO. So we're starting off the season. We have our first of our weekly polls that we put in our Facebook group that you can find at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter @PackersFanPod. And I wanted to touch base and find out which facet of the Packers will shine the brightest on opening day. Was it going to be the offense or the defense or, for whatever reason, special teams? What do you think, Scott?
Well, I think that it's hard as a fan not to say the offense, but I think that that's mostly because everybody is watching this game to see what happens with Jordan Love. Even non-Packers fans are like, what's this kid going to do? Is he going to be the next Favre Rodgers, or is he going to, are we going to turn into the Bears? We're going to have 11 quarterbacks in 10 years, you know what I mean? Or however long that is. But I think that deep down it is going to be the defense, because the offense is such a young team. They're so young. I mean, we've got some that have a year or two underneath their belt, but this is a fresh start for Green Bay for more than one reason. So I think this is a time for the defense, especially with Van Ness, like Dan was talking about. So yeah, I'm gonna say defense. How about you?
And although I would like to say offense because it's the Bears and it would be fantastic to march into Chicago and have the offense shine all day, I do think it's going to be the defense. And in Chicago, if our defense shows up and really puts on a show, I'm going to be just about as happy.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the voting results, Twitter and Facebook were like two different worlds this time. On Twitter, it was mostly offense, some defense, and some special teams. But in our Facebook group, every single vote was for the defense 100%. So when you average them out, 29% said offense, 62% went with defense, and 9% went with special teams.
Interesting. Well, as we start the season, we will be posting those polls in the Facebook group and on Twitter. We encourage you to please give us some comments on there. We will share them on the show too because we want to hear your thoughts as well. After all, this is by and for Packers fans of the podcast, so we do appreciate it as well.
Yes, please. There were some other great conversations in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group as well, talking about Josh Sitton and Jordy Nelson going into the Packers Hall of Fame and other Packers goodness as well. So we encourage you to check that out.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of fans, we want to know how you all became a fan of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. And we want to share your Packers fandom origin story here on the show. So do us a favor, just like with the comments and community questions there, you can call us at 920-372-2546 or email your audio recording to feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. Wayne's going to compile those, and we're going to share those with our listeners. Love this community and can't wait to hear those stories. As always, your calls, emails, comments, and support are so much a part of the Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you for all that you do. Remember to join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversation at PackersCommunity.com as this exciting new season of Packers football gets underway. Simply join, answer 3 easy questions so we know you're not trying to rig professional fight between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, and then we'll let you in there.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So now let's preview week 1. Jordan Love and your Green Bay Packers are heading into Chicago to face the Bears Sunday, September 10th at 3:25 p.m. Central Time, which is an interesting time, I think, for our very first game of the year. I had it entrenched in my mind up until doing the show prep. Oh, it's going to be a 12 noon game. Nope. 3:25 p.m. Central. And remember, our Green Bay Packers lead the series 105-95 and 6 ties. So, yeah. And we've won the last 8 games in a row. And the Bears haven't had more points than us when time ran out since December of 2018. And before that loss, we'd beaten the Bears 5 times in a row. I mean, 2018. That's even before my 4-time run as Packers Fan Podcast Wager-O-Fun champion. It's going way back.
Way to rub it in. I still have to cash in on our wager. I have Pokemon Go downloaded, and every time I think about it, I'm about to record a podcast with you. So I will do that, I promise, because things are going to turn around this year.
Oh.
And you're going to play Madden. We should just do that anyway. We should change the wager this year, and we should just, you and me, do Madden, just because I think everybody get a kick out of that.
If I win, you have to play Madden, and if you win, I have to play Madden.
There we go.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Maybe so.
The winner gets to play as the Packers on Madden, and the loser has to play as the Bears.
Ooh. I may purposely tank the game if I have to play as the Bears.
Oh, that would be pretty fun to do, though.
It's an interesting twist. Let's keep that one in mind. That could be the way to go.
I don't know why we didn't think about that, but it would be fun.
It's a new season, and we have new glasses and outlooks and everything. And the Packers have 790 victories in the NFL all time. The Bears are close behind, but falling fast with 786 all time. And Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre before him both gave us some fantastic memories against the Bears. What special chapters will Jordan Love add to this rivalry? If we're fortunate, we might have the first one this coming Sunday.
Oh, boy, I sure hope so. And as of the end of last season, there have actually been 206 games between the Packers and the Bears. This is the most in NFL history since their first league game in 1921. The largest margin of victory was 61-7 in 1980. Unfortunately, that one was owned by the Bears. The Bears won that one. But wouldn't it be great to flip that last stat in the Packers' favor this first game of the season? Win by more than that? That'd be amazing.
Yes, please. Sometime this season would be fantastic. The weather's going to be basically a non-factor unless it changes between now and then. It's supposed to be partly cloudy, a high of around 78 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 26 degrees Celsius, so not much going on in the weather department. Bring your sunscreen.
Yeah, I was going to say 78 degrees is pretty warm for football. You say it's a non-factor. It's not sweltering heat, but I wouldn't want to be running around in pads and jerseys and everything in 78 degrees. So
no, because I'm just comparing it to the first game when the Rams came back to L.A. and they played the Seahawks, I believe it was, opening day at the L.A. Coliseum. It was like 103 degrees. It was insane.
Oh, my goodness.
And they were unprepared. It was if they didn't have any idea what a football game was, the people running the stadium that day, because they ran out of bottled water to sell before kickoff.
Oh, my goodness.
The drinking fountains were busy that day, my friend.
It's like Woodstock 99 all over again. Hopefully
Yes.
they had better. I got to tell you too, Wayne, it is very embarrassing to say this.
Uh-oh.
But I am not going to be able to watch week one's game live. Way before I know, look at the look on your face right now.
I'm so confused.
Way before the schedule came out, I booked a camping trip with superfan Aaron Peterson over at the Hollywood Outsider. So I'm going to be up in the Porcupine Mountains with no cell signal for that weekend. We're actually getting there on Saturday and don't get back till Monday. We're driving back on Monday. So I'm going to be watching the game on a cell phone in my car on the drive back in order to stay up to date with that. But I'm not going to be able to watch live, which is going to be difficult because I'm a social media nut. So whenever I do get a signal back, it's going to be very hard for me not to look at my chat thread of Packers fans and not look at the Packers fan Facebook group and wait until I actually get to watch the game to respond to those comments, because it's going to be tough. But I will be here for the show for the recap of week one, Wayne.
We will have a live game discussion in the Facebook group. So there's a thread of discussions going on right there in the group as well. And Porcupine Mountains, frankly, this sounds made up.
No, it's real. It's up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, north of Wisconsin. This is only the second time I've gone, and this is a hardcore camping trip. Like, you have to hike out to the cabin in the middle of the woods, and you have to filter your own water from the lake to be able to drink.
What?
And there's no running water. And
where are you going to park the 40-foot RV?
Not that kind of camping, man. Not that kind of camping.
That's not camping. Oh, my. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Wayne, would you like to hear my keys for a Packers victory over the Bears this week?
Yes, I would, because a little extra encouragement is always a good thing.
All right. Well, my first number one strategy this week is just simply 3 words: calm, cool, and collected. This is the first time the Packers have started a season without a quarterback named Favre or Rodgers in around 30 years. Needless to say, there is a lot of pressure on Jordan Love, and he and the rest of the team need to not let that pressure overtake them. The Bears may have the edge when it comes to their single year of experience against our very young team, but keep in mind that they also won 3 games last year.
Woohoo!
So a calm, cool, and collected team will help lead to a victory for sure. My second strategy is don't rely on the pass. Dan talked about this already, but everyone and anyone will be watching this game to see what Jordan Love is going to do through the air and compare him to Rodgers. That's a perfect time to instead focus on the run game as strategy, which is a strategy I focused on heavily last year, but they didn't listen as much. But the thought process still stands, and then some. No one will be expecting Green Bay to start the season by dominating on the ground. We haven't been a running team for a very long time. They're just going to expect us to just stick to the passing game. So doing so early will wear down that defense and allow for a late second quarter scores to go into the half with the lead. Give the fans what they want with a few passes here and there, but show the world that the Packers are ready to be a running team. Strategy number 3 is the defensive focus should be on the run game as well. One of my concerns from watching the preseason footage is how Green Bay handled the run game in general. Granted, most of the game was B and C squad, but Justin Fields has proven that he is a solid running quarterback, and that needs to be shut down very early on. Don't even let him out of the pocket. Plant him firmly on the turf, which will double as keeping him out of the passing game, which is doubly important since the Bears' play calling is reportedly supposed to be much more balanced this season than last. He may not have as much running on his shoulders as Love has at the start of the season, but he's a major factor, and that should be the primary focus of the Packers' defense. And there you have it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your work on that, Scott. I like those. And, a few months ago, I think it was, Justin Fields said that he's one of the top 3 running quarterbacks of all time. And I'm thinking,
well, if the quarterback says that about himself, that is a surefire way to say it's going to stop. It's just not going to happen anymore. So thank you, Justin Fields, for doing that. Although I do have Justin Fields on one of my fantasy football teams. So
I thought you said your team was, never mind. I do have one quick question about strategy number 1, calm, cool, and collected. Does that apply to us fans as well?
No, I mean, that's never a factor.
Good, because Sunday, September 10th is going to be a wild day all day here at the Henderson household. And then, of course, on Monday night, because the first Monday night game of the year, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. So it's busy.
Absolutely. We talked about it a little bit already, but we got to get back into our 2023 season wager of fun as Wayne seeks his 5th straight championship. Or will this be the year he has to play against me in a fun game of Madden? Or maybe we just do what we said and the loser has to play. I kind of like that idea the more I think about it.
I think I do. I will agree to that. Those are the wages for the wager of fun.
And we can stream it. I can set us up on a Twitch channel as long as you got somebody in your family that has an Xbox. We can make that happen. I can get a copy of Madden and we'll figure something out. I think that's a fun deal. So we don't have any score predictions, obviously, because we have not had a game to predict outside of preseason. So we're going to jump right into the predictions for the Packers at Bears game. And I'm going to kick things off. I am going to predict a Packers win.
Whoa.
This is going to be a tight game. I thought real hard about it, Wayne. I really did. The Bears are favored by only like 1.5 points, I think. But they are favored mostly because we don't have Rodgers and our team is so fresh and young. With that being said, I think this is going to be a higher scoring game than most people are predicting, simply for the main fact that the Packers team, their offense is very young, and the Bears defense is also a very young team. So I think that we're basically playing an offense and a defense against each other that are college players, basically. And those college games like to rack up points pretty quickly and easily, so I think it's going to be a little bit higher scoring game. I'm going to say Packers 27, Bears 20.
Awesome. I like the sound of that. I'm going to go with an even tighter game. I'm going to say Packers win 19-16.
16, huh?
There's going to be a miss extra point, I believe, on the Bears.
Oh, either that or touchdown and 3 field goals.
Whatever Bears. It takes.
Yeah. Let's go to the listeners. Our Packers Fan Podcast listener picks for the wager of fun are as follows. Mark Ellison says Packers win 23-13. Our reigning champ, Garrett Stritzel, says that Packers are going to win 24-13. Again, that man knows his picks, so what does he know that the rest of us don't? And Brett Connor says Packers 21 and Bears 19.
And we have a couple of listeners picking the exact same score, so let's see what happens with that. Jay Walters, Packers 21, Bears 17, and Dan Dyler going with Packers 21, Bears 17. I am actually shocked. Even with my green and gold rose-colored glasses, I am actually surprised every single person picking a Packers victory.
It was really tempting, man. It was really tempting. I just didn't want to have the bad juju on week 1.
Especially since you're not going to be there to watch the game.
I know. I'm not going to be there for kickoff. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, the game is on. Yeah, I will be actually up in the middle of the mountains with no signal, so there's no way for me to even watch it. There's not going to be anyway.
If you have one of those newer iPhones that has emergency SOS satellite service, you could maybe get the score beamed to you.
Yeah, this is a real emergency. Could you please tell me what the first play of the game was and how it went?
Perfect.
Probably
And
not a good idea.
your current standings, these will change, obviously. NFC North, Packers 0-0, Lions 0-0, Vikings 0-0, Bears 0-0.
There you go. We got some other interesting things happening in the NFL. Monday, September 11th, will definitely be a game that I feel like a lot of America is going to be watching. Rodgers makes his first start with the New York Jets. They're going to be hosting the Bills at MetLife Stadium. The game starts at 7:15 Central Time. I should be home by then, and I would really like to watch that game, but we'll have to see how recording goes. We usually record on Monday nights. If I'm home in time, we may be doing that, but I really want to see that game, man. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen.
That's going to be very interesting. I mean, you talk about a ratings bonanza because the Bills are no joke. So This is no patsy of a game, that's for sure. And just the other day, Pepsi and Frito-Lay came out with this unretirement TV commercial, as well as putting out on YouTube. And it's a Super Bowl caliber commercial. I think it's the best commercial I've seen forever. And just the fact that they were able to get Jerry Rice, Dan Marino, and Emmitt Smith, and Randy Moss, and even Tom Brady all in the same commercial to do things regarding unretiring. It was just so well done. And I cracked up when Jerry Rice asked for the senior discount for the beer vendor.
That was pretty funny. I loved how, I think it was Randy Moss that like one-handed a pass and then turned around. I was like, oh, that hurt. Like he's getting, I thought that was pretty funny. So that was, how much was that commercial? Holy cow. That had to have been expensive. All right, Wayne, it's time to start wrapping up here, but I want to remind everybody before we get out about my other podcast, The Gaming Outsider. We release a brand new episode every Wednesday, and our upcoming episode has us answering video game-related questions from our community, something that we do once per month. It's one of my favorite times of the month to do that. Also, we are hosting a video game convention on Saturday, October 14th in Rockford, Illinois. We call it the Rock River Valley Video Game Convention, or R2V2 for short. I am very excited about it. I have spent most of my summer down at the Lyron Club here in Rockford, basically renovating the building, painting and cleaning and doing all this kind of stuff to make it a presentable place. Lots of blood, sweat, and tears put into the Lyron, and I really hope that people will check it out. We've got John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem, is coming as a special VIP guest. Wayne,
nice.
You're in voice acting, so you know who he is.
And Duke Nukem, there you go.
Yeah, we've got him coming. We've also got something like 35 vendor tables, people selling retro video games. We're going to have a VR booth. We're going to have Guitar Hero competitions. We're going to have other video game competitions. We've got all kinds of giveaways and raffles. It's going to be a good time for anyone that is a fan of video games. Please do me a favor and check it out. Our website is thegamingoutsider.com. And if you add a /R2V2, it'll give you more details about the event, and you can even pre-purchase tickets there. So please check it out. Also, one last quick thing, Wayne, if you'll indulge me for a second.
Course.
I was actually a guest on another podcast in Australia. Not while I was visiting Australia, is actually we did it just like we're doing now. But the podcast is called Quest Markers, and the host's name is Marina. She invited me to talk about my favorite video game of all time, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, and I highly recommend it. Not just because I'm on it, but Marina is one of my favorite people to podcast with now. No, not Wayne, you're my favorite. Don't get me wrong.
If only I was in Australia. I understand.
Right. No, but I normally do not like listening to episodes where I was a host on. I don't like listening to myself. I'm overly critical of myself. But I decided to go back and listen to this episode. It's about 45 minutes long or so, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. I felt like the flow was really great, and Marina is such a fantastic host, and she's just one of the sweetest people on the planet. So please give it a shot if you get a chance. It's called Quest Markers.
Sounds fantastic. Give it a listen. Value for value here at the Packers Fan Podcast. We want to thank you for giving back to the Packers Fan Podcast via Patreon. We really appreciate it, and it really helped out this month when the Packers Fan Podcast domain came due and re-upping the MP3 levels for the hosting so we can put out all the podcasts, because it's going to be every week now, and the packerscommunity.com URL, all that good stuff happening almost all at once. Thank you for helping out. Details for becoming a patron, as well as other ways that you can give back to the show, are all at packersfanpodcast.com/giveback. Dan Dyler, supporting at the Jim Ringo level, definitely get some Go Pack Goes and thank yous from us. And of course, Jay Walters, thanks as always, and Go Pack Go for your classic Aaron Rodgers level patronage. Go Pack Go.
And I just got to give a shout out to all these people that are contributing to this even in the off season. I don't think that they get enough credit for that fact. We're not putting out content during the off season except an occasional, like draft update and that kind of thing. And they're still contributing, and we really do appreciate that. With that said, Go Pack Goes and thank yous to our loyal Brett Favre level supporters, Colin Nolan from Ireland, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, and also our Curly Lambeau level Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Matt Haig, Hank Davis from the TPE Network, and Joe Christensen. If you would like to give back to the show and maybe even become a patron of the old PFP, check out details at packersfanpodcast.com/give back. We really do appreciate the support. It helps to pay for all the things that Wayne mentioned above.
All that good stuff. Thank you again. The Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers, but we do want you to follow the Packers Fan Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and remember to tell your friends about the show. Thank you.
You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @PackersFanPod. My personal handle is @GoCastScott, and Wayne's handle is @WayneHenderson. As our Packers start the season on the road, here's patron supporter Pack Sparrow, a.k.a. Dan Dollar, help amp us up even further.
All right, this is Dan, a.k.a. Pack Sparrow, and Brett.
Coming in from Tottenham, all the way from London, England. And this is the Go Pack Go.
Go, 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 go.
Go Pack Go!